When we began homeschooling, I didn't really give much consideration to outsourcing classes. That wasn't a big thing as much 10 years ago, except for like a local co-op. But over the years, as technology changed it and online live classes became a thing, I knew there would come a point when I would start to outsource at least some of our classes. Today, I'm going to share a little bit of some pros and cons of outsourcing, whether it is an online class or a co-op type place. Before I jump into the pros and cons, though, I want to first say, if you outsource, I would love to know why or why not down below, and I'd love to know where you outsource to. So co-op, if you do it on a website, I'd love to know down below. Always looking for new ideas for myself and to share with others. I also want to say, the next thing I want to say is that I will also leave a link for you to go to over on the Techie Mom's website. She has a huge list of online classes in the different places and the different subjects. It's not comprehensive. There's a few that I know of that aren't on there, but there are a lot. So you'll definitely want to go check it out if you're interested. And I also want to say, for online classes, there are two different types. There are the online live ones, such as our math class, which is, I have a video about that. It's just my homeschoolmathclass.com. And then there are ones that are more online, but do at your own pace, such as Mr. D's Brave Writer. And then there's kind of a third category, which would be they're online, but you're not actually enrolling to get a grade, but it's a good place to learn. You can still use it. So places like Coursera, edX, which has classes from a bunch of different colleges, and you can watch them and learn from them, but you're not actually, you're not an enrolled student. I will have a list of, I will include those, plus the Techie Mom link down in the down bar, so you'll definitely want to check that out. Before this school year, my daughter had taken a couple other online classes. An algebra class a couple years ago, Spanish class last year, and we hadn't really done any co-ops except for one year. We did a couple of enrichment classes back when she was like 7 or 8 at a co-op. Otherwise, we've done all our classes. But a few years ago, when she was moving into algebra, I realized that that was probably a wise use of my time. And that is my first pro for it. It does free up your time a little bit, especially if it's a subject that your child can take ownership of. That was a big thing for me, is once I decided to outsource, it needed to be a subject that they could pretty much do on their own. Not something that I need to keep up with the assignments and make sure they're understanding it all. So algebra class was good for her, and her Spanish class, she's needed my help with some problems on all those, but not consistently. This year she is taking a literature class, and that she doesn't need my help with except for editing. Chemistry class, almost never, and that's a good thing because I forget most of chemistry. And then again, her Spanish class, random help with things, and her geometry, just random problems. And it's been perfect. Otherwise, she keeps up with it all, and it gives me more free time to work with my boys. When they were younger, I could give all my attention to her because most of their day was play. But now that they're doing school too, I have to be able to focus on them as well. And our schedule just works out. The outsourcing helps with that. Now, a con is dealing with stupid assignments. When we come across an assignment that is in our own curriculum, if I think it's stupid, I will either change it to something better or we'll just skip it. I can't do that with ones that aren't the classes that aren't belonging to me. And luckily, we've not had too much of this, except this year in our chemistry class. There's been a few times labs she's had to do at home, and I thought this is just ridiculous. But she had a lab write-up, so we did it. Or she did, I should say. But I hated it. I was annoyed. Truthfully, part of why we homeschool is so that we don't have to do like assignments that just feel like busy work. Now, a positive is that, another pro is that I don't have to do grading. Kind of a con with that, though, is that I feel like there's a lack of connection to her schoolwork. I don't see most of what her assignments, unless she needs help with it. Her last chapter in geometry, I didn't have to help her at all, so I didn't even know what she was doing, really, without making a conscious effort to converse with her about what's going on. I've spent 9 years intimately involved in all of her subjects, so to not have that now, it's kind of hard for me. So I have to be very purposeful about making sure I talk to her about what she's learning and that kind of stuff. So we retain that connection. To go along with that pro, it is nice that someone else can evaluate my child and say, yes, she is doing well. So that when she goes to apply for colleges, it's not just mom saying, look at my perfect A student. It's someone else saying, yes, this child does well in this subject, or this child doesn't do so well in this subject. I think it's important to have that more objective, view of it. If you are a family that's on the go a lot, it can be really good to do to outsource to an online class, because you can take it with you on the go if you have hotspot or Wi-Fi access. Now, but to go with that, depending on how you're on the go, a live class may not work so well because you are dependent on someone else's schedule. So that's kind of a con. But there are online classes that are not live. Brave Writer offers some of those. Mr. D's offers that for math, and I think he does physics. So you watch it, do your homework, and then submit it. So you are doing it online, but you don't have to. You're not dependent on someone else's schedule. That one has been kind of hard for us at times because when we've gone on vacation, we've had to schedule around that. On the other hand, my daughter's been able to hotspot class while we're driving and take the class, and she's not missing anything. So that's been the other side of that, is that yes, it's on the go, but in someone else's schedule. But if you have the technology to do it, a little bit of planning, and you can get around that. For me, there's a lot of reasons why I don't want to do it while the kids are young. But the big thing for me was just that I wanted them to be able to take responsibility. If I still had to reteach most of what they learned and stay on top of them about their assignments, then that defeats part of the purpose of outsourcing, which is to free up my time a little bit. If I can't free it up, in fact, I'm increasing my load, that's a big negative for me.